Hey everybody, welcome to Ages Cozy Crochet Corner, where today in the corner, it's my birthday. So I decided for my birthday, I wanted to make myself a piece. And I also wanted to be able to give you an awesome pattern. So I decided to tap into my Doris collection, and my brain pulled out the Doris Pocket Shrug. So I put pockets on it because I love pockets and I'm making it for me, right? So it has pockets. There's the back. I love this piece. I hope you guys like it too. We're going to be doing a small today, and we have a pattern, a written pattern for small, medium, large, and extra large. And you can find that on my Etsy store. I'll make sure I drop the link in the description box so you can go check that out. Uh, Again, small at the table today, birthday. We're going to get this tutorial started. I'm going to thank you all in advance for watching and creating with me. I love you all. And let's get to the table. Okay, everybody. So we are at the table and we are going to begin our small size pocket shrug. Now, and this is the Doris pocket shrug. So we're going to be using a medium 4 yarn, and I'm using this one right here with Love Red Heart. There are 315 yards here. I have 4 of these. That should be enough for me to do this small shrug. Now we're going to be using a 5.75 millimeter hook, and we're going to begin by chaining 105. Now this pattern works in multiples of 6 plus 3. Okay, so if you decide to change the sizing, it works in a multiple of 6 plus 3. Okay, so I'm going to chain my 105, and then we'll begin. Okay, so I have my chain of 105. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm not going to go in the first chain from the hook. I am going to go into the second one, right? And I'm going to make a half double. You make a half double by yarning over, going into the chain, grabbing your yarn, coming out. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and take off all 3. So this whole chain, foundation chain, is going to get a half double. Now our starting chain was 105, so we should have 104 half doubles in this row. So by the end of this row, we should have 104 stitches. Okay, so I have gone all the way down my foundation chain, making half doubles. When you get to the end, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. So right back into the first stitch. If you look from here, you see this like a V. And we're just going to go in between there and go through the back loop only. And we're going to place another half double. Now, you see, we just have a V right here, and we're going to go in between and just go make a half double. So we're going to half double all the way down this row, just going in the back loops only. Back loop only. Now that's going to give it a raised effect. So we're going to keep going down this whole row. The second row is going to be half doubles all the way to the end. And I'll come back in on the end because the last stitch in this row will not be in the back loop only. The last stitch in the row we're going to put through both loops. So I want to make sure you identify that stitch. So I see you at the end of the row. So I have worked all the way down the second row to the last stitch. Now in that last stitch, remember I said we're going to be going through both loops instead of just the one. So we're going to go through both loops in the last stitch on every row and make our half double. And then chain one and turn our work. So now that we've established the last stitch, what you do, and you know to chain one after every at the end of every row before you turn your work, and we're going right back in that first stitch and making a half double in the back loops only. I want you to complete 4 more rows of this, and we should have in total 6 rows of half doubles in the back loop only. And you see how it creates the texture. You will not get the texture if you do not put it in the back loops. So make sure you stay in your back loops. So we're going to work this to row 6. Okay, I'm at the end of row 6, so I'm gonna place my last half double and the last stitch in both loops, chain one, and then turn my work. All right, now on row 7, we're gonna yarn over, and we're gonna be going through both loops for this row. Okay, so I'm going to go into the first stitch and I'm going to make a double crochet. I'm going to yarn over 2 times, and I'm going to place a treble into the 4th stitch. So we're going to be doing cable stitches here, and we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th one we're going to make a treble. Yarning over 2 times, and into the next one we're going to make a treble. Yarning over 2 times again, and in the next stitch another treble. All right, now the 3 stitches that we've skipped in the beginning right here, we're going to go back in those now. So we're going to yarn over 2 times. We're going to bring our hook behind the 3 we've just created, and we're going to go into that first stitch Come down, and we're going to make a treble. Yarning over 2 times. We're going to go back behind there again and go into the second stitch in which we skipped and make a treble. Yarning over again 2 times. We're going to go behind our work and we're going to find the third one that we skipped, and we're going to go through that stitch and we're going to make a treble. And now we have our first cable. Okay. Now we're going to be going directly into making another cable. So we're going to look again at the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to skip the first one, the second one, and the third one. And into the fourth one, we're going to place a treble. Yarning over 2 times. The fifth one, treble. Yarning over 2 times. And in the sixth one, we're going to place a treble. Yarning over 2 times, we're now going to come back to the 3 that we skipped, going behind our work, going to the first one that we skipped, and going in there and creating a treble. Yarning over 2 times, going behind those 3. Again, going into the second hole that we skipped, and we'll create another treble. Yarning over 2 times, we're going to go behind those 3 one last time and go into the third one that we skipped and make our treble. We will continue doing this all the way down to the end of our row. Now we should stop with 1 stitch left over, and in that stitch we'll place a double crochet, but I'll come back into when we get there. You should, in this row, you're going to have a total of 17 cable groups. You're going to have 17 of these. Okay, so remember, yarn over 2 times, look at the next set of 6, skip the first 3 and go into the 4th with a treble. The 5th with a treble. The 6th. Yarning over 2 more times, coming behind your work and going back to the first one that you skipped and make a treble. Yarning over 2 more times and going to the second one that you skipped. And 2 more times. And into the third one. Okay, so go all the way down and I'll meet you back when we finish our last cable. Okay, so I'm back at the end of my row and I finished my last cable group, and now I'm going to yarn over, and in that last stitch I'm going to place a double crochet. So on our cable rows, the first stitch is going to be a double and the last stitch is going to be a double crochet. All right, and now we're going to go back into doing half doubles, or 6 rows of half doubles back loop only. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And right into the top of that double crochet, we're going to place our first half double. Back loop only. And then we're just going to go in every stitch back loop only. So make sure you spread out your cable stitches and you don't miss a stitch. You should have 6 stitches going across that cable. So we're going to do 6 rows of back loop only half doubles. And remember, we started, our first row started off 104 stitches. We should always have 104 stitches in every single row. Okay, so we're going to go up 6 rows with our half doubles. Okay, back loop only. Spread your cables apart and make sure you don't miss any stitch. And don't forget, our last stitch will be in through both loops and chain 1. Okay, okay, so I've gotten to the end of my 13th row and I have my 6 rows of half doubles in the back loops only. Okay, so this next row we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So what you see here is the pattern that we're going to be working back and forth. But we're making a pocketed shrug. So we're going to break into, on our 14th row, a row of single crochets where we'll create the space for our pocket. Okay. So in order to create a space for our pocket, we're going to go single crochet in 10 stitches. Okay, and we're going to work in both of our loops. So we're working in both of our loops and we'll single crochet in 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now to create the space for our pockets, we're now going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So now we're going to skip 20 stitches. Okay, so let's count out 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So in that 21st stitch, the 21st stitch, we're going to go in there and place a single crochet. So the chain of 20 and the skipping of 20 means that our row, we don't miss any stitches, okay? So our stitch number should still remain 104 on this row and on the next row. And then we're just going to put single crochets all the way down to the end of this row. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of my 14th row with my row of single crochets. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. So now the 15th row is going to be just like the cable row that we did here. So we're going to yarn over and into the first stitch. And remember, cable rows are worked in both loops. And we're going to make our double crochet. Now we're going to yarn over 2 times. Look at the next 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to skip the first 3. And in the 4th one, we're going to place our treble. Yarn over twice. And in the 5th stitch, we're going to place another treble. Yarning over twice. In the 6th stitch, we place another treble. Then we'll yarn over 2 times, go behind our work, and go into the first stitch with a treble. Yarning over 2 more times, go behind those 3 trebles and find the 2nd stitch that we skipped and place another treble. Yarning over 2 more times, we're going to go behind those 3 trebles and find the 3rd stitch that we skipped and place another treble. Now we will again do this all the way down to the end of this row, placing in the last stitch a double crochet. Now, and we should still have 17 of these. Now when we get here, we're still going to continue to go down this row just like we did with our cables, okay? It's not going to change. We're still going to be working down these 20 stitches, and when I come up to it, I think I'll go over that with you, so we'll look at that together. One, two, three, and then the 4th. And then the 5th. And the 6th. And double back. Okay, so I've come to my chain area. Okay, now I'm going to place right here, sorry, I'm not going to place there, we're still skipping. So I've come back to my chain area and we're going to skip 3 stitches. So this would be 1, 2, and I'm working on the back end. I'm not working on the front end of my chain. I'm working on the back end where the little bumps are. So 1, 2, 3. So in the 4th stitch, I'm going to place my treble. And then in the next stitch, and in the next. So now I'm going to yarn over twice and come back around to where I've skipped and place one treble in the first out of the 3 that I skipped, yarn over and come back and go into the second, which is the first one in the chain. And yarn over 2 times again and go through the last one that I skipped. So you're going to keep your cable going right down this chain. So we'll skip 1, 2, and 3, and in the 4th, place our treble. And in the 5th, and the 6th. Yarn over 2 times, go on the back, and we'll go on the next one, and make our treble. Reach behind and go in there and make our treble. Let's keep going down the line. 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one, make our treble. In the 5th one, treble, and in the 6th one. Let's double back around. Make our treble. Now 1, 2, 3, and we're back here. Reach around back. Okay. And as you see, they continue along right over there. And this is where our pocket's gonna go. So we should have 7 stitches left. So 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th one, we make our last cable over the last over 6 stitches, and then we'll have that one at the end for our double crochet. And then we put our double crochet in the last stitch. Chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, now I'm going to pause right here to break down what we're going to be doing next, because you're going to be doing that portion on your own. Now, if you can see, we have 6 rows of half doubles, and they're in the back loops only. Then we place our row of cable stitches, and with 1 double crochet at the beginning and 1 double crochet at the end of that row, and that is done through both loops. Then we come back to doing our half double crochets, back loops only, and we do 6 rows of them. Now we had to break in that pattern with this row of single crochets in order to put our pocket in, but this is the pattern right here, and it repeats. So it's going to be 6 half double crochets, back loops only, and then cable, and then we'll repeat. So here we're going to repeat that 6 times. This portion right here 6 times. Once you've done that 6 times, looking from the beginning of the piece always to where you're in, you should have 8 cable rows, and you should be stopped at a cable row. Okay, hope that's really clear. So we're going to do 6 more of this repeat right here from row 1 to row 7. Back loops only except for your cable row, and when you're done you should have in total 8 cable rows. Okay, so I just want to make sure you get your placement again. Remember, when you come back off of a cable row, you're going to go right into the back loops only of the first stitch and all the way down. So I'm going to do my 6 sets of row 1 through 7, and then we'll come back in and we're going to have to put our next pocket slot in. So go ahead and get to the same place, and we'll break it down and look at it again to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, so we come back in after I've done my 6 sets of row 1 through 7. Just a sea of red. I love it. So let's go back to where the pocket is and where I left you off at. So I left you off on this row, and right after the pocket it came in, I left you off here. So I've done 1. You want to make sure you say 1. Then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and then here 6. So we have our 6 sets of row 1 through 7. So now we're going to be going back in and making the row for the pockets. So we chain 1 at the end of that row, your last row, which should have ended on a cable row. We're going to turn our work, and now we're going to begin to make another pocket row. Okay, so our pocket rows, we're going to go through both loops making single crochets. So we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next 10 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to we're going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now we're going to come here and we're going to count 20 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we're going to skip those 20 stitches and we're going to go into the 21st one and make a single crochet. And then we're just going to single crochet in both loops all the way to the end of this row. And then as you see, we have our pocket space right here. So let's go to the end of this row, making single crochets to finish out this row. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of that single crochet row. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. So now we're going to go right back into our 7-row repeat, and we're going to look real quick at the other side of the pocket. We're pretty much right here. So now we just have to do our 6 rows of half double, a cable, and to end it off 6 rows of half doubles. Okay. So that's what we're going to do right here, right now. We're going to do our 6 rows of half doubles and the back loop only, a row of cable, and then 6 more rows of half doubles. And that is going to finish us off with making our whole piece. So now when we get to the chain area where we chain for our pocket right here, we're going to work on that half doubles. And when I come into that row, when I come to that area, I think I will walk you guys through it to make sure you see exactly how you place your 20 stitches, half doubles along that end. All right, so we're going to work all the way back there and then I'll come back in. Okay, so I have gotten to my chain 20 space. Now there is one stitch right there where we came out, the 21st stitch, and I want to make sure I go through that stitch and place a half double. Now we're just going to be placing 1 half double all down this area, okay? And it should be 20 of them, so we're going to count them as we go. So 1, and we're working in just 1 loop. Okay, so you see the loops there. We're just going to work in 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So now our next stitch is right here. You see it's not in the chain. It is back in that single crochet. And we're just going to keep going down to the end. Nine and 10 is going to be in both loops, and that's that row. Okay, so you're just going to catch one in the back loops. That way it still gives the same effect. And when we add our pocket in, it blends in with everything else that we're doing. So we're going to chain one, turn our work, and just like I previously stated, we're going back into the first stitch and making a half double and all the way down to the end of this row. So just as I stated before, we're going to do our pattern, our 7-row repeat, and then we're going to add on 6 half doubles at the end. So that's 6 rows of half doubles, back loop only, 1 row with the cable, and then back to 6 rows of half double, back loop only. So we're going to complete those rows to end off our piece here, and I will come back in and we'll get to closing this up. Okay, so I've gotten to the end, and I'm going to pull this up. I'm not going to cut my yarn off yet. I've gotten, you see what we did, the pocket. We did our row for the pocket, single crochets, and then we did our repeat rows, our 7 rows, and then to end it off, we did just the 6 rows of half doubles, just to end it off. So the large piece is complete. Now we have to put it together in order to make a shrub. I'm going to leave this here. All right, and you see my pocket is here. I'm going to just fold it just like this. Okay, so I'm folding it in half. So we end our stitch right here, our last row right here, and we're just going to fold this over like that. Okay, now I'm going to turn my work around to this side. And I'm going to insert my hook back in where we finished. Now I'm going to chain 1. Now we have to close off a portion of this for so we can make an armhole. Okay, so we're going to single crochet down 35 stitches. Okay, but we're going to combine these together front and back as we go. So I'm going to go through the first one here, and I'm going to go through the first one in the back, and I'm just going to make a single crochet. All right, and I'm going to go through the second one here and the second one in the back. Grab my yarn, pull through, and make a single crochet. And I'm going to do that down for 35 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 33, 34, and 35. Once I get there, I'm going to cut my yarn, leaving enough on to weave in later. And I'm just going to pull my yarn right through the loop and pull down. Now, I'm going to turn it to the opposite end. And I'm going to join these two sides together. Okay. Now on the other side was where we had just finished our stitches. So the ends look like this, and it's very easy to find the stitches. This end is where the foundation chain was laid. So make sure you count your stitches correctly and you do not miss a stitch. So I'm going to add on my yarn. I'm going to go through the first one. And I'm going to go back in and make a single crochet in the first one. Then I'm going to find the second one here and the second one in the back. And that's 2. And the third one here and the third one in the back. So when you're doing the bottom, make sure, well, when you're doing the opposite side, which is where our foundation chain is, just make sure you're not skipping one, and you're going in every single stitch all the way across, matching the front up, matching the front with the back. So go to the end of this and we'll move on to our next step. So I've come to the end here. I did my 35 single crochets, and I am just going to cut and pull through. Okay, so now the side that has our joining stitches, that now becomes our wrong side. Okay, so now we must open it up and flip it on the opposite side. You turn it around this way, because now, as you see, look at one end of it. We have our armhole. We have our pocket hole, and our other armhole. And it's perfect. Okay, armhole. So now what we're going to do is we'll be working around, all the way around this whole inside area here, okay? Because this is where your body's going to go, and this part is where your neck will be. And we're going to work all around that area. And we're also going to be working in the armhole, okay? So I just want to make it clear, armhole here, pocket is here. All right, so we're going to start with the arm, and what we do around the arm will be what we do around the whole inside of our shrug. Okay, just all of this area. We're going to start here and we're going to work all the way around and back down in a large circle, just over and over again. But we're going to start here, and the same thing we do here, we're going to do in this large area. Okay, so let's turn our work so it's comfortable for us. Let's flip it in half here. And get our color. And add it on. Now our join area, where we joined it, it's right here. I'm going to start around that area. Okay, I'm actually right below the join area. And that is where I'm going to put my yarn on. And I'm going to go right back in there and make a double crochet. Now we'll be putting double crochets around this whole piece for the arm. And as you see here, the spaces are already defined for us. So you're just going to go on top of every stitch and go around in the circle. Just placing your double crochets. Okay, now I am almost back to where I started. That is my last stitch. So now that I've reached my last stitch, I'm just going to slip stitch into the first double crochet that we've made. And I'm going to chain one. And now I'm going to yarn over, and we're going to be doing front and back posts. Now we're going to alternate. We'll first do a front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back, all the way around. So to do a front post, we're going to go behind that first double crochet, grab our yarn, pull up, and make a double crochet. That pushes it to the front and pushes it forward. Now I'm going to go and put my hook in front of the next double crochet and come out on the other side, grab my yarn, pull through, and I'm going to place a double crochet there. This one is push back. So we're just going to alternate front and back posts for this whole row. So we'll go all the way around till we come back to the beginning where we began. Just making front by going behind and then making a double crochet and reaching in front of it and grabbing our yarn, pushing that back. And we'll do that all the way till the end. You can see it gives it nice texture. Okay, so I've gotten back around to the beginning, and I ended on a front post. And I began on a front post too, but that's fine. Okay, this is would be at the bottom because we worked at the seam, so it's fine if you wind up starting with a front post and ending with a front post. It'll be okay. So we're going to slip stitch now into that first stitch, okay, the top of that front post, and then we're going to chain one. Now we're going to go back around that front post and make that another front post. And we're going to go back in front of this back post and make sure that stays a back post. So now on this row, we'll just be keeping up with what we've already established. Front post will continue to be front post, and back post will continue to be back post. And we'll do that all the way back around. And you can see the pattern it is making, the texture. Okay, so I've gotten myself back around to the beginning, and I'm going to slip stitch in the top of that first front post that we've done, just like that. Chain one, and now we're just going to, we already have 3 rows. We're going to maintain this pattern for 3 rows. So we're going to keep making front and back posts for 3 more rows. So when we're done, we will have 6 rows in total for our arm area. Okay. Okay, so once we have our 6 rows, we're going to cut our yarn, leave it long enough to be able to weave it in, and just pull it on through. All right, and we'll weave this in later on at the end. And then you have it, the other armhole, which is over here. We're going to do that in the exact same way. So you're going to add on in the joint area right below it and go all the way around with double crochets, and then do your 5 rows of front and back posts from there. Okay, so I'll do that one on my own. Let us bring in and start work on the open it up, yeah, right side, on the opening for our body. All right, now our neck is going to be up here, and this is the bottom, and you know it's the bottom because the pockets are here, so the pocket should be down below, okay? It and because I want you to start there, all right? And we're working on the right side of our piece, so we're going to start here. Now we're going to do this in the same way, and you can add your yarn on anywhere along the bottom. We're going to do this the same way in which we did the arm. So I'm not going to walk you through that step by step. We're going to put on one row of double crochets, and then we'll come back and start our front and back posts, and we'll carry that out for a total of 6 rows. If you decide to do more around this area, you definitely can, but I'm just going to do 6 rows, just like we did 6 rows around here. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other arm and here. The only thing I want to walk through with you here is that where your placement. So around here, you kind of have to make your own places to put. Okay, your stitches are not, you're not working on top of a stitch. You're actually working on the sides of all of these stitches. So just make sure that when you place your double crochets, you're going through 2 loops, 1, okay? You don't want to just go through 1 strand of yarn. You want to make sure you're going through 2, and that you place them decent decent spacing. They don't have to be sitting right on top of each other. They don't have to be super hugging each other. You just don't want to have a stitch sit here and then, okay, I'm going to do a wrong stitch. Wrong placement. My hook won't even let me do it wrong. And just say like a large gap in between like that, okay? You want it to seem natural, as if your stitch was already mapped out for you. There's no right or wrongs. I will not be giving you a number and say you should go around this amount of times. You just want to go around it comfortable and make it comfortable, okay? So like me, I'm pretty much going let's see, in the half double area, I'm going in about 3 times. One here, and one here. Half double area 2 times. So it's just how you crochet, okay? You just want to make sure it's not too far apart. Now we will be going and doing the front and back posts, and that will make it'll help it not stand out if they aren't all perfectly lined up, because one will be forward and one will be back, and that'll help break that up. So you really won't be able to tell, as long as you don't have super gaps in between your double crochets. You got this. So we're going to just go around this piece and do exactly what we've done on the arm. Now let me show you that path again. We're going from here all the way up the piece, okay, all the way around this wide open circle, and coming all the way back here. Then we will slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet in every row. So in every row, we're going to chain 1 to start, and then front and back post, and when you get to the end, you'll go into the top of that front post, just as we did here. Nothing different. So if you're having difficulties remembering what we did, just click back to when we did our arm and just do that all the way around for each row. And be sure to do your arm too. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do these two things, and then we're going to come back in and we're going to add in our pockets. Well, we have to make our pockets first, right? Can't add in what we don't have. So we're going to make our simple little pocket, and then I'm going to show you how to add them into your piece. Okay, so now we must make our pocket. So we're going to get our yarn and our hook. Let me place this on this side. And I want to chain 21, okay? So we're going to chain 21 for our pocket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Okay. We're going to yarn over, and not in the first, but in the second loop from the hook, we're going to place a half double crochet. And we're going to place half double crochets down this whole foundation chain. And at the end of it, we should have 20 half double crochets, which is going to fit in perfectly with the 20 spaces, stitches that we blocked off for our pocket rolls when we chain. Yep, fits in there perfectly. All right, I have my 20 half doubles, and I'm at the end of my foundation chain. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. So now we'll be just making nothing but half doubles, and we're going to do 20 rows of half doubles. So we're just going to yarn over, and into our first stitch we're going to work in both loops and place a half double. And for this whole row and every row after, we're just going to work in both loops, placing half doubles in both loops. So you should have 20 half doubles in every row and 20 rows. And remember, you have to do 2 pockets like this. So I'm going to get to my 20th row and come in and show you how we're going to close this off. Don't forget to chain 1 at the end of every row. And I'll see you after 20. Okay, so once I've gotten to the end of my 20 rows of half double crochet, I'm just going to chain 1. Now I'm going to fold this in half, just like that. And I'm going to work down this end. Now we're working on the sides of stitches, so I'm just going to be catching some in the front, some in the back. Okay, just making a single crochet, and that's it. So I just want to make sure I'm going through at least 2 loops in the front and 2 loops in the back and pulling up, making a single crochet. So there's no placement exactly for them. Like here, you already have stitches at the top that you, the tops of stitches here. We're working through the sides of stitches again. So you're just going to make sure you go in front and back at the same time and make a single crochet. So find your spot and just push your hook through to the back and make a single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way down till we get to this little closed corner. I mean, if you would like to close this off with a yarn needle and some yarn, then that's fine as well. I like to say when I'm crocheting, I like to crochet. So I'll crochet it on out. So we're just going to pull this through like that. And we'll go to the opposite side. And I like to work from the ends on into the little cul-de-sac area. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go in there. And again, we're working on the side of stitches. So we're just going to find our best placement. And place our single crochet. Very simple pockets. I did not make my pockets any larger because I wanted to make sure it has a nice fit into the shrug without coming forth and showing itself out the bottom or on the front. So if you want a larger pocket and you just, once you finish your piece outside of doing the pocket, make your pocket, fold it over and see if you can make it larger and fit it in there. If you can, then go for it. I usually like a large pocket, but for me, I'd rather have some pocket than no pocket at all. So I'm going to pull through, and that's it. That's our pocket, all right? Now we're going to flip this on the, we will be weaving in these ends, but we're going to flip it on the right side. So when we place it in, we don't have any join areas on the outside. All right. And now let's place our pocket in, okay? Okay, so coming back in, we have gone around the total insides with our 6 rows. First row being the double crochet row, and second row being the front and back post, and the other 4 rows just carrying out that pattern of front and back post, keeping front post with front post and making back post back post. Okay, so we've done that all the way around the neck and the body portion. Okay, I have already added my other arm on, and I've done one pocket. Put the little pocket in there. I love pockets. And that's one pocket. So as you see, the joining happens on the outside of the pocket. So let's go over the last pocket together so you know how to do it. Got my last, and this is what I have left after 4, using 4 of the red heart loves. So as you see, we just made it with that. Now here's our pocket. Now I turned my pocket, this is the joining sides, and of course we turned our pocket on the right side so we don't see the joins. And we're going to place our pocket inside to where it should be. All right, now there should be 20 stitches here in half doubles and 20 here. And of course there should be 20 here and 20 here. So this should fit in perfectly. And then weaving any of my ends, I'm going to save that for last. Let me do them all together. So this pocket should fit in absolutely perfectly. So we have our ball and we have our yarn. Now let's start putting in this pocket. Okay, so to begin our pocket, I'm going to start here, okay, on one of the 20 stitches in the chain around here. And then I'm going to find the first stitch on the pocket. This is one of the 20 on that side. And I want to go through both loops on both sides. So I want to be through 2 loops on this piece, and I want to be through 2 loops on the pocket piece. And we're going to add on our yarn here. And I'm going to go back into that first one and make a single crochet. And now I'm going to go to the second stitch in the front and the second one in the back through both loops and make a single crochet. And I'm just going to keep that process up all the way around this whole pocket. And that's it. So we're going to go around the whole pocket, just joining them together with single crochets. And you see that's going to give us the single crochets on the outside of the pocket, which is going to look nice and it's going to blend in with the rest of our work. Being sure not to skip any stitches. Now, before you get started, you can definitely pin this down to make sure that you get it in perfectly. spinning my work. Now when you get to what would be the joint area here and the joint area on the pocket, I'm going to go through the joint area here and the joint area underneath in the pocket and place a single crochet. And now I should be on the 20 stitches on this side and the 20 stitches on this side of my work. Now if you choose to use a yarn needle and some yarn, the same color yarn you're working with, to just sew this up that way, you surely can do so. As I say, if I'm crocheting, then I'm going to crochet. So I try to do as much with my hook as I can without having to bring in my sewing, my yarn needle, until I have to weave in. Not always possible on everything that I do, but I try. Now I'm coming back around to the last stitch, and my last stitch is going to go here and in the corner of where I began the joint area on the pocket. Now once I've gotten to the last stitch, I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that we placed. So I'm going to go through there, grab my hook, pull yarn through, and go through there, and then I am ready to cut. So I'm going to cut this long enough to weave this in later on. And I'm simply just going to pull that right through. And then you have it, your pocket is in. Let me turn this around the right way. Alright. Now we have both of our pockets in. Now one thing that you might want to do, I'm flattening my pocket. One thing that you might want to do is take, making sure it's flat, and tack down your pockets on the inside. So let's open this up. Flatten that and flatten your pocket. And now we'll use our yarn needle, and we're just going to tack this down here and here. Now I prefer to tack down my piece, my pocket, after I have washed it. I always wash my pieces before I bag them up. So before I do that, I want to wash it first, me personally, because I feel as though the yarn is going to relax, and I don't want to place this down and then once it relaxed, my pocket on this side looks pulled, if you understand what I mean. So if you're comfortable with it, you can go ahead and tack it down. Just make sure your pocket, the sides are totally pulled out all the way, and you're just going to tack your pocket down here using your yarn needle with yarn on it, and just tack it down right here, maybe just twice. It's not a big deal. You just don't want it flapping in the wind, and tack it down right here. Okay? And that's it. So I'm going to, and I will show you what it looks tacked. We're about to take this and try this on after we weave in all of our ends. So yarn needle, weaving your ends, and I'm going to tack it down after I wash it, and I'll show you guys exactly how it looks and how it came out. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. So I'm gonna get to that and see how this looks. All right, everybody. I totally appreciate you coming and crocheting with me on my birthday. I had lots of fun. I hope you did too, and I hope you have a great piece to go along with that fun. So this is the back, and I love the back. I love it in this color. Make sure you sew down your pockets. I told you guys to do it after you wash. Well, I did it after I wash. It's not a necessity. I've made this a multitude of times. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But this love was so, it was a little thick, and I wanted to make sure I got the perfect placement for my pocket. So make sure you sew down those pockets, because you don't want it going flopping around in the inside of your shrug. And as always, follow me on all of my social media sites, Facebook, Instagram. Meet me in the comment section. I love talking to you all. I love seeing your crochet art. So when you guys send me pictures of what you've made, that's awesome, because I would love to see this in more colors. That's it. That's it. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. And thank you all for coming, and see you next time on Age's Cozy Crochet Corner.